What is good, Egoists? We are back with another chapter review for Blue Lock, chapter 356. We've been waiting for this. We had a little hiatus with the week off, and we are back at it, and it is active and it is live. I think that was last week, right, with the break. My bad on that part. But I'm probably going to X that part out, or I might not, just for comedic humor. But anyway, all right, let's keep going. But we are back at it. And boy, do we got us a game already, right? So we're seeing a whole new, just kind of diving straight into the chapter. We're seeing a whole new construct, right? With England, it's literally the antithesis of Blue Lock's team. It's kind of like we see, like I was talking about in the last chapter review, how this is literally Ego's perspective versus Fox's perspective, and we're seeing that this was like it was meant to happen, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like this was a plan set for each other. These two coaches' ideals and these players, obviously, ideals are meant to kind of just clash at each other. They're the antithesis of each other. So this is exactly what's going on the way it's supposed to be doing. I think it's hitting a little bit harder for Blue Lock because they never faced anyone in this type of dimension of play, right? Where it's literally the exact opposite. Instead of having a whole team full of egos, now we're dealing with the that these guys are solely doing their coach's instructions to the T, like not a little bit, not kind of to the T. So it throws them off. You know what I'm saying? They're the exact opposite. They're like, I don't really care what my instructions is. I'm going to get this goal. And they're like, no, we got to follow this play. Exactly. This is how we practice it. This is how we maneuver it. Everyone maneuver in formation, but there's no hesitation. They're like literally puppets. It's crazy. And you already know we're going to get into Mr. Teddy Knight, the puppet himself, of course, but we got to build up. Right? So getting into this, this genre is crazy. So I can see why Asagi and them are struggling a little bit. I'm not even mad at it. This is a whole new type of enemy that they're facing, and they're not used to it all. It goes against their brain. We see, though, what's really interesting, though, is we see they anticipated a lot of the steps of, I can't even say it, the players' strategy, but Fox's strategy, but he accounted for everything. I mean, he's been playing longer than all of them, so I mean, I'm not mad at them at that, but you see how they're not attacking the direct source yet, right? You see how a few times they canceled out a few plays, but all of it was a part of Fox's calculations, how they receive the ball back, making sure they're in proper position, plus luck, you already know, get the ball back, and maneuvering everything so that Teddy can get that ball. But you see how I wanted to make sure we talked about in this chapter that Blue Lock was able to catch on to certain bits. They're just, like I said, they're not attacking the source. The source is Fox. This is Fox's game plan. This is Fox's strategy. And this is very, very spooky in a way because, he's looking from the outside in. He has a very, very grand perspective, and he can do little things even without saying it. He's just throwing up signs. You can do that. And they're able to, they practice it. They know how this works. They're able to adjust. And we see that the catalyst for this and what they're right now struggling with, especially Asagi, is Teddy. But we notice, though, that you see the whole team's format, as it seems to be, is around following Fox's rules to the T. So you could argue technically the whole team is a team full of puppets that orchestrate and go about Fox's commands to the T, right? But you see, he said, go my puppet, specifically when it came to Teddy, when Teddy was out there doing what he does, right? He was over there, what do you call them, the rainbow cuts? Those were nasty, brother. I'm sorry. It's Team Blue like always, but those were nasty. But, I think Asagi, we already know Asagi. Asagi's very much a strategist. You know what I'm saying? He's literally like how they said how he plays is exactly how Ego plays. So he's going to figure this out. We already know this is going to happen. Or what I'm intrigued to see is, because, they're going against pretty much the coach. They're going against Fox at this point. Is Ego going to call a timeout? We're going to get a little insight from him, or knowing him, just how he's been throughout this whole series. He's probably going to want them to figure out themselves. So within that, though, we're seeing the signs of it already if we're paying attention, right? Because Asagi's peeping how everyone's movements shifted depending on Teddy's new format and cutting. Now, I don't know specifically how Fox and Teddy are so locked in. I don't know if it's just kind of like people who just kind of get each other, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, all the training they've done. But I'm saying it seems like Teddy understands more than any of the teammates just how much Fox is playing, how deep it goes, and how perfectly etched out it is, or whatever you want to call it, quote unquote perfect. But it's interesting, right? But like I was saying, everyone's maneuvering off of Teddy, right? So if technically speaking, if they can find some way, if Asagi can correlate and get everyone, the teammates, so he can find a way to differentiate between that, or find what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a little bit more. They're going to have to see certain quirks within their strategies. You know what I'm saying? Is it always going to end up with Teddy getting that ball? Is he always going to be that catalyst for their team to maneuver from? Because if you can understand that catalyst and that starting point, if they can stop it there, or they can predict where it's going, then potentially speaking, they can get a counter off and they can get the ball so that they can actually attempt to score. But if they can't figure this out, and this, 0-1, they can't figure out what that 0-1 is, because like Teddy said, they're going to turn that 1 into infinity. There's infinity. I want to see more though, because is it going to be other people besides Teddy scoring? I'm guessing so, but we want to make sure we're seeing this. See, we're looking for the quirks within. We're looking for the quirks in within their strategy. But they're saying is 1 to infinity, so that means you have to stop it at 0-1. But that's what I'm saying. This is a battle between pretty much, if an ego stays out of it, this is between Asagi and Blue Lock and Fox. So, he has a lot of experience and he's looking from the outside in. He can see a lot. Asagi has a great view. So I'm intrigued to see. This is going to be a crazy game. And I can tell this is going to lead to a development in Asagi that's probably going to be astronomical, because this is some insane stuff, And I definitely think we're going to see who can crumble and who's going to, if anyone's going to crumble under the pressure. Are we going to be able to still hold to their egoistic style? Now they're seeing the antithesis style to it, and they're seeing that it works in a way, right? But we're going to see, who makes it to the end and how far their egos can go. And I guess in terms of development and adjusting and surpassing their the previous selves. That's why I said this is kind of the perfect game for it as well, because we're seeing Fox is taking into account their abilities, and he's estimating where they're at. Like you see when Asagi stripped that ball, he anticipated where the pass was going. Teddy said Teddy stole the ball right back from Asagi, but it wasn't Teddy necessarily that did it. He was saying, hey, Fox accounted. He was letting him know Fox already accounted for this in his plan. He was trying to, mess with his brain, of course, but he's showing him how this is between you and Fox, pretty much. Fox is the one that estimated, yeah, you pretty good. You're probably gonna steal that right there, but I'm already gonna be in position to get it right back, and then I'm gonna go from there and I'm gonna take off. And that's exactly what Teddy did, right? He executed it, to perfection, pretty much, and that's why Fox specifically is calling him the puppet. The whole team does exactly what Fox says, but I'm saying there's a specific connection between them two. So I'm saying potentially what we see within these next few chapters, it looks like Teddy's probably going to be the main piece that Asagi has to look at. He has to look at the whole thing orchestrated, because I don't know. Like they said, 1 to infinity, so we got to learn more. But what we know so far is we see a very present importance on Teddy. And if Asagi can figure out and correlate how that works, or maybe it's going to be something along the lines of Ren on the outside, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Something, you know what I'm saying? I'm just making some predictions, but who knows? Maybe Ren on the outside potentially is going to be able to see something too, and he's going to confirm something with Asagi that Asagi see on the inside, and then maybe them together. Because we know Ren's pretty strategic as well. He's always been able to pretty much keep up with Asagi in that format. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. Maybe it'll take both of their brain power and their anticipation and reflexes on that together to overcome Fox. I don't know. Right now, though, I don't know if Blue Lock's going to work in the way it is right now, because right now it's very goal based. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm saying this is strategy right now, bro. And Fox is XP'd up, so I'm intrigued to see what's going to be the next steps taken. Is someone going to get switched out? And we're going to keep the team the same? Yeah, it's very intriguing to understand where this is going to differentiate and where this is going to go. But yeah, it was a very, very good chapter. Kind of short, but it got the point done. We understand that we're dealing with a whole nother beast. Yeah, we're dealing with a whole nother beast with England. So let me know in the comments if you stay to the end of this video. I appreciate you. Let me know any ideas or any potential theories you have. But I definitely think that Asagi's gonna have to zoom in on Teddy for sure. We see that Teddy's definitely the main, at this moment at least. He's the main construct for how their theories change, and he's the main imprint that the rest of the team can go off of to understand kind of what it seems like what Fox's plays are, and sometimes, or when it switches, because you see he threw up the sign at first and everyone was information. So they got like everything. These guys are covering all bases. Kind of, this is going to get deep. But then you see how it seems like when they do that strategy, Blue Lock can keep up. But then when it's like it gets deeper into his strategy and Blue Lock starts countering, Teddy seems to be that catalyst that diverts everything off. And then it's kind of like he's able to freestyle Fox's kind of play style, I guess, right? And then the team just keeps adjusting with him, and then they're pretty much infinitely open, I guess. So yeah, we're looking for a good thing, but definitely I mark my words on that. It's seeming so far, I might be wrong, but that's what it's seeming like. It's seeming like if Asagi can figure out a format of stopping or anticipating and understanding Teddy's just Teddy, right? Because he's the puppet of Fox. So I think that's kind of as far as he can go. He can't, go over and observe Fox, you know what I'm saying? So Teddy's going to be that main premise of how he can do that, you know what I'm saying? And is we going to get, and also maybe, just maybe, they'll also be able to use the fact that he doesn't have an ego. The fact that Teddy doesn't have an ego, as good as he is, could also play in their favor if they can anticipate and formulate and find out how to counteract or stop Fox's plans with him as the catalyst before they develop further and then the whole team gets involved and they turn in one to infinity. If they can get to that before that, they might be able to stop him. And if they can do that, then I think potentially Teddy could self-implode because he doesn't have an ego. So then when it comes to if they can figure out Fox's strategy, that's the beautiful part about this. Then it's kind of a done deal because they don't have an ego. But like I said in one of my other videos, go watch that as well. If they do figure it out, which I do think, obviously, with Asagi, that will happen, potentially, Teddy does have the potential to develop an ego, and then this game could get even crazier. So I'm saying, mark my words, this game is most likely going to get crazy. But I probably should end this one here. So I appreciate you if you stay to the end. Let's keep being egoists. Let's keep striving to get them goals on the field and in life. Peace.